grab your firecrackers, light them up, and let that shit explode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Welcome.
Yeah, woo! 4th of July, baby! Let's fucking go! We kicked the shit out of the British. It was sweet.
Yeah, twice.
Twice, yeah.
1812.
1812 as well. Not as celebrated, but it did
No,
happen.
not as celebrated. And depending on who you are, we might have won that one and we might have lost it.
But we won the first one, damn it.
If you're America, we won that one, and if you're Canada, we lost it.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, happy 4th of July.
Yeah,
if
you're
you're not
celebrating.
from the United States and you don't celebrate it, all you need to know is we blow shit up
Yep,
in
literally.
celebration.
Blow shit up and drink, which,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
it's about the most American thing you can do.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I don't know if I talked about it last year. I might have. It's great. I don't know who it is. It's like the National Safety Association for, I think, it's one of the government organizations for, I think, fire safety or something like that. Does a firework PSA every year for 4th of July
Oh, that's cool.
where they just demonstrate like all the ways you can hurt yourself with fireworks.
Oh, Lord, there are so many.
By blowing up dolls in the most fun ways possible.
Oh, that's fun.
Like just firing a bottle rocket at a doll's head.
That's pretty sweet.
Great to watch. They post it on like YouTube every year.
That is cool.
You guys can check that out. It's fun.
No, fireworks are so stupid dangerous.
It's just explosives.
They're just explosives with colors, which is, like, pretty cool.
Well, it's explosives with little pieces of metal mixed in.
Oh, really? Is that what does it?
Yeah, metal burns and different metals burn different colors.
Oh, I didn't actually know how that worked. You have any cool 4th of July stories, Ben? I don't know if I asked you that last year or not.
Have any what stories?
Cool 4th of July stories.
Oh. No.
Oh, I got one good one. You want to hear it?
Did you blow off your hand?
I had to check. I'm
you
good.
You just lifted up your left hand. I don't know about the right.
True.
It's gone.
We're good. One time I watched my cousin stick a bottle rocket up his ass and light it off from between his ass cheeks. And it was extremely
he
funny.
set the stick.
Yeah, sorry. That makes more. He set the stick in his. He was laying flat on the ground. The stick was in his ass cheeks, and he was doing a lot of bottle rocket. But it was one of those ones that does like the spray before it goes off and out.
Oh, like the sparkler stuff?
Yeah, and he did not think about that when he lit it, and proceeded to. The sparklers hit his butt, and he clenched because he was in pain, which then held the bottle rocket in between his ass cheeks instead of releasing it when it went off. So then it just exploded above his ass. He had to go to the hospital, and he burned his ass so bad. So what I'm saying is, don't put fireworks near your ass, kids.
No, yeah, fireworks are stupid dangerous.
No, they're stupid dangerous, and you shouldn't play with them. But they are fun. So I guess that's a negative.
Explosives are fun in general, Bob.
Yeah, sure.
So is fire.
So play with it.
Beware the Board does not recommend you play with fireworks.
No. But if you do it safely.
Yes.
Okay. What are we doing, Ben?
We're watching a 4th of July movie.
Yeah, last year we watched Jaws. Which
Yes.
technically is a 4th of July film.
That is a amazing movie.
Oh, great movie.
Objectively, the best 4th of July movie we've watched so far.
It's the only one.
Exactly my point. Now, I think I've said this when we announced we were doing a 4th of July episode. The movie we're watching this year is definitely not as good.
Sure.
In fact, some might say it's really bad.
Look, we all know this. Those are my favorite kind of films.
Yeah, I think I compared it to Night of the Lepus,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, this is not going to be a good movie.
I really like that film.
But Bob might enjoy it. There's
I like
always
you keep
that
saying might.
there's that debatability factor of like, okay, is this going to be so bad it's good? Or is it just going to be bad?
Well, there's a tipping point, right?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen this one.
You've never seen this film.
I don't think so.
Oh, I love when we watch a film on the show that you've never seen.
I've seen clips from it and stuff, but I don't think I've actually ever watched it. But the movie's from 1972.
It's a 70s film. Oh, yeah, I love movies from the 70s.
We're watching Frogs.
Frogs?
Frogs.
No, this sounds awesome. I'm so excited. It's just called Frogs.
Frogs.
Sweet.
Description. Look out! They're hopping right towards us.
This movie is gonna be so fun.
I thought you'd appreciate that. It's an hour and 31 minutes long.
Okay, a normal length film.
I think we talked about this last week. Guess what this is rated?
Oh, G?
PG.
PG. Motherfucker, not again.
Review scores. IMDb gave it a 4.4 out of 10.
That is so low.
Tomato meter, 29%.
Ugh.
Audience score, 24%.
Oh, those scores are so miserable low.
Awards, 0 wins, 1
It
nomination.
got a nomination. Sweet.
Ray Milland, these are the notable actors, as Jason Crockett. He was Roderick Fitzgerald. Do you remember him?
I remember that name.
In The Uninvited.
That makes sense. Nope. Oh, man. He's in this movie? That's so cool.
Sam Elliott as Pickett Smith. Do you know Sam Elliott?
No, the name is familiar.
He is, okay, he's young in this movie
Okay.
because it's from the 70s,
Sure.
which is really weird because you're going to know him as an older man and not as a younger man. First of all, he was Ross in Hulk, the 2003 one.
Okay. Okay.
I assume that's General Ross. But maybe more famously for most of you guys, he's Wild Wild West from Family Guy on 18 episodes between 2019 and 2024.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Do you not know about that?
Nope.
Okay. You've seen Family Guy before, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that the mayor of Quahog was Adam West?
Yes. Yes, I do remember that the mayor of Quahog is Adam West.
You know, famous actor, right?
Yes.
Adam West passed away a couple years ago, right? I believe Wild Wild West is, I think it's his brother,
Okay.
but it's just Sam Elliott.
Okay. Okay.
It looks like him
okay.
in everything.
I mean, it's just like how the Adam West character in Family Guy was just Adam West.
oh, but just wilder.
Yeah, just like actually crazy.
And, you know, Sam Elliott just looks like a stereotypical cowboy. Let me actually see if I can pull up a picture of Wild Wild
The
West.
name sounds really familiar.
This is how he looks like on Family Guy.
Oh, I know. I've seen that guy before.
Next to how he looks in real life.
I've definitely seen that guy before.
Yeah. He's, you know, famous. I'm trying. I wonder what he's in Roadhouse.
I've never seen Roadhouse.
Have you not seen? You know what? It's you I'm talking to. He's in 1883.
I don't know that one either.
Ghost Rider.
I've seen Ghost Rider.
Is he Death? I think he might be Death, right? No, he's the caretaker. Is that the original Ghost Rider? This is a tangent we don't need to be on right now. Joan Van Ark as Karen Crockett. She was Francesca Frankie Banks in The Last Dinosaur.
Okay.
Do you not know The Last Dinosaur?
No.
So it is not a great movie.
Sure.
It is famously a bad dinosaur movie.
Oh, okay.
And if we ever get to watch bad dinosaur movies again,
I was about to say again.
we can watch The Last Dinosaur. It's fun. It's got so it's a joint picture, I believe, between Japan and America.
Oh, that's cool.
I forget what studio it is, but the dinosaurs are done by guys in rubber suits, kind of like the classic Japan Godzilla kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is inspired by like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Okay. Great movie.
I think it's actually more inspired by Pellucidar because there's a drill. Long story short, I believe the character's name is Maston Thrust.
Oh.
He's like a rich kind of trillionaire dude, and he builds a drill to go into the center of Antarctica and hunt a T-Rex.
That's pretty cool. Cool concept.
The Last Dinosaur is not the T-Rex in the film.
Oh.
It's Maston Thrust. Because he's an old man and he's stuck in his ways. Yeah.
I see.
It's shit on a lot. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says, but it's not great. But isn't that the way most things are?
Most of the time.
Where things are just shit on. It does very famously, though, there's a sequence where the T-Rex gets hit by a boulder and you see its forehead divot inwards because it's a rubber suit.
That's pretty funny.
All right. Adam Rourke as Clint Crockett. He played Mac McDonald in El Dorado. Not the animated El Dorado.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Damn it.
I know it was. El Dorado from 1966. Lynn Borden as Jenny Crockett. She was Margie Ann in Walking Tall. Judy Pace as Bella Garrington. She was Iris in Cotton Comes to Harlem. I believe it's a very famous blaxploitation film.
Ah, okay. We haven't really talked about that on the podcast.
What, blaxploitation?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, not to look behind the curtain, guys. We're two white guys,
Yeah, that is true.
and I think talking about blaxploitation for us is
It's tough.
tough.
Yeah, but I'm
because
Are
we're
there
just
any-
not familiar with it.
no same. Well, I mean, but we personally have had conversations about it because what did we watch? We were talking about something and it came up. Was it Black Dynamite?
We were talking about Black Dynamite
Yep,
and Coffee.
yep. That's what we were talking about.
Oh no, there's a ton of great blaxploitation films.
Yeah, I was thinking like, could we watch any? Are there any good
And-
black exploitation horror films?
I don't know. Again, it's not something I'm familiar with.
Hmm.
I'm familiar with a couple films because they're really famous,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it's an interesting genre, like all exploitation genres, because you know it wasn't mainstream, and especially for the 70s, for how problematic they can sometimes be, they were also progressive in giving roles to black people.
Yeah,
But I don't know about horror stuff. Well, you can look into it if you want, but
I just think it'd be a fun category.
oh no, it'd be cool.
It'd be so interesting.
You just want to watch Blackula.
Is that a thing?
Wait, are you being serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that sounds cool.
Did you not know about Blackula? We've talked about Blackula before.
Have we?
Yeah. Not the actual movie Blackula. We talked about Dracula from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Who is just Black Dracula?
Yes. And is based on the character Blackula from the 1972 movie Blackula.
Oh shit. Okay.
I thought you knew about Blackula.
Maybe. I think you've told me that.
I
about
guess we
before.
could watch that.
That'd be fun. Holy shit.
I just
that looks
showed Bob
sweet.
the cover. The tagline is "Deadlier than Dracula." Mae Mercer as Mabel. She was Mrs. Russell in Dirty Harry. David Gilliam as Michael Martindale. He was Juanito in Shark's Treasure. Nicholas Cortland as Kenneth Martindale. She was Jung Beck in Bear Island. George Scaff as Stuart Martindale. She was Renee D'Arcy in Topaz from 1969. And also had a minor role in Exorcist II, The Heretic.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
No. Exorcist II is universally hated
I wonder why.
and thought of as one of the worst sequels of all time.
I wonder why.
So get ready for that whenever we finish The Exorcist.
We're not going to.
Because you have to do that, Exorcist Believer.
We.
You got to do all of them.
All I gotta say is I'm glad they canceled that one sequel.
So
That's
far.
all I'll say.
So far. They could double back.
They won't.
Hollis Irving as Iris Martindale. They were Harriet Woodley from Blondie on 15 episodes in 1957. Finally, Lance Taylor Sr. as Charles. They were Swenson and Blackula. I knew Blackula was going to come up, but
Cool.
directors George McCowan? Yeah, McCowan. They also directed The Shape of Things to Come. Writers Robert Hutchinson. They also wrote Outside, In, and Robert Blees. They wrote The Fighting Chance. Couldn't find anything on the budget. Looks like the box office, though, was estimated at $475,000, which was pretty decent for the
I was about to say
70s.
72. That's really not too bad, depending on how much money they spent to make it.
And I didn't write this down, but I think looking at it, I think it was a limited release kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, I think it just released in, like, Florida.
Just in Florida?
Yeah, because it was shot in Walton County, Florida.
Okay.
I could be wrong there. It could have gone elsewhere.
I mean, it's a movie called Frogs.
But all I saw was, like, it debuted in, like, 26 theaters in Florida.
Hmm.
Something like that. So
That is a very small release.
I don't know if it went outside of that region. It probably did for $470,000.
Or it just did really well
I doubt
in
it.
26
I-
theaters in Florida.
I'm telling you right now, I doubt it. I know enough about this film to be like, oh, this didn't do really well. Country of origin, United States. Tagline. Today, the pond. Tomorrow, the world.
That's so fucking... It feels like cheesy 50s sci-fi is what it feels like.
Yeah, it's not great.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so big thing to know about this film is it falls in the eco-horror subgenre.
That's a subgenre?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Ah, no, that's a great idea for a category.
So that's, generally speaking, a genre that blends ecological and environmental topics with horror elements.
Something like The Bay, maybe.
Yeah, usually you're going to have a film that focuses on like how humanity negatively impacts the environment and then how that comes back to bite them. That's not always the case, but that is more traditional. Obviously, you just said The Bay. That is a great example of eco-horror. But there's a bunch of stuff like that.
Scary movie.
It
It's
is for
very
you.
freaky.
But that's because you don't like crabs, spiders, the water.
Yep. It has all the things I hate. It's a great film,
Bays.
though. Bays, well, never been one. Never been to one. I wouldn't know.
Bay windows.
Very terrifying. Because normally if there's a bay window in a horror movie, something is on the other side of it.
Stairs.
Stairs are dangerous, man.
Boats.
Depending on the boat, yes.
All right. Before we start, I have one more piece of news.
Okay.
This is kind of going really further back. Remember how I said I bought a double feature and I needed to figure out a way to use it?
Oh my god. Are you serious? This is one of them?
Yeah, so this is one of them. This is not why I bought this.
You bought this for a completely
I
separate
bought it
reason?
for the second film, which I couldn't find on Blu-ray. This is the one you can find places,
Okay.
but is kind of difficult. So I'm going to cover the one that we're not watching, and I'll show you the cover.
This looks fucking sweet.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All
Oh
right,
my lord,
we'll be
I'm
right back.
excited. Yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit. Hi everybody, welcome back. We just finished watching Frogs.
Frogs. Weirdly enough, Frogs stars a lot of cane toads.
Yeah, okay, well yeah, that is a really good point to start with.
I
Ben.
actually don't know if I saw any frogs in Frogs.
I don't think there's a single frog in this entire film. I think it's all toads. Which is cool, mostly because the toads are a lot bigger than frogs.
Oh yeah, they're cane toads. You know, the things that are like super invasive in Australia.
You kept saying that. I don't know how true that is.
They're huge.
They are huge, which is cool.
They are like the size of a very small cat.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of a big one during the movie, and they get big.
They will eat a rat.
It's pretty cool.
But what'd you think?
I liked it.
You did?
You thought you knew I would like it, but also I like it for not the reasons I thought I was going to.
Exactly. So I described this as a shitty movie, and I stand by that. It is a shitty movie in that the concept is
ludicrous.
ludicrous. At
Fair
the
enough.
very least, what this movie should be sounds ludicrous.
Yes, totally fair.
The concept in of itself is actually not that bad.
No.
How it markets itself is ludicrous. But the movie is actually fairly serious,
Yeah.
and it ends up being pretty decent,
Mhm.
especially if you like eco-horror. With that being said, I'm going to do a quick rundown, and then we'll get into the spoilers part of the movie.
Sure.
As always, we recommend you go in as blind as possible. I'm not sure how strict you can be about that, though, with this film.
Yeah, the movie is
Um,
called Frogs.
It's called Frogs, but also it's easier to watch this film than it used to be.
Sure.
But all the available copies of this film I could find online, at least last time I looked, were like SSD.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really serious about watching this film, you're going to have to buy a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because, it's an SSD from the 70s, so it doesn't look great.
No, but it looked better than I thought it would.
Oh, no, the Blu-ray looks great.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the SSD.
I see.
Standard definition. In any case, the general premise of this film is fairly simple. There's this guy. His name's Pickett Smith. I remembered it.
I'm really glad you remembered it because I did not realize my brain did not comprehend that his first name is Pickett.
Yeah,
Until
right?
just
It's
now.
so
Because
weird.
people keep calling him Smith.
I mean, Pickett's a weird first name,
Pickett is, well, it is 1972. Cut him a break.
but Smith is a pretty standard last name.
Sure.
Anyways, Pickett is I think he's like an ecology photographer
Yeah, he said he's like a freelance photographer that takes pictures for ecology magazines and
or
stuff.
journalist or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, he does investigative work, but freelance and not for the law and about ecology. Anyways, he's taken some pictures of this lake area that's on private property, so he's definitely trespassing.
Yeah.
But he's looking at some of the pollution there, and he's in a canoe, and the canoe gets tipped over by this guy drinking PBR in his speedboat and his sister Karen. And long story short, to kind of like apologize, they invite him to their mansion
Yeah.
to give him like a change of clothes and everything.
Well, because he's also mad because all of his equipment that was in the canoe just got sunk to the bottom of the. It was like he said it was scuba equipment, and that shit is expensive.
And a camera
And a
with all his
camera
film.
with all the photos that he took. Like he's not getting paid anymore. He's just mad about it.
Yeah, and long story short, they end up hosting him for like the day
Mm-hmm.
there, and at the same time, let's just say nature begins to strike back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's really it. Okay. I'm gonna start off on a sour note.
So we're gonna get into the actual movie discussion.
Yes, because now look, I like the movie overall, but you made a very good point during the film. This movie's called Frogs, and you ended that statement with, "And nature starts to strike back." The frogs don't do much in
in
this
fact,
movie.
the frogs basically do nothing.
Well,
They eventually do something.
and I think that might be
Kinda.
the most important part.
It is, but it is compared to what some of the other animals in this film do.
Mm-hmm.
Basically nothing.
Yes, and that is the only thing that I'm really going to complain about with this movie, is that it is called Frogs. The cover teases frogs that eat people.
Yeah, the cover is a picture of a giant frog, and we know that because there's a human hand in its mouth.
Yes.
In fact, we didn't actually see it because we turned it off. At the very end credits, there's an animated frog with a hand in its mouth.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of like the cover. But
But the fact that there are not giant frogs, there are big frogs, well, in this case, toads, is kind of disappointing if you're coming in from that marketing perspective.
yeah, especially because what did I say the tagline is? Like,
Uh,
today the pond, tomorrow the world,
world.
which is, again, a very, like,
Frog-centric theme.
you think it's going to be like Night of the Lepus,
Yeah.
and it's not. Now, I think the film justifies its title of Frogs
Oh, yes, for sure.
because frogs are everywhere in this movie.
The frog imagery is very apparent, and I feel like the presence of the frogs is less about them being frogs and more about the symbology of the frogs.
I would say what the film does is it makes the frogs the face of the vindictive force of nature.
Yes, and it uses the frogs as sort of a symbol of like, oh, there's a frog, something bad is going to happen, which is kind of cool. I actually like it a lot more that way because it's less like ridiculous scary like something Night of the Lepus was trying to do with the rabbits, and more of like it's like adding deeper meaning to a silly concept.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. It's just you hear the name of this film and you see some of the promotional material,
And you go, oh, I'm gonna watch giant frogs eat people,
and I just really wanted that.
and don't. I will not lie to you. That would be really cool, but it's just not what the film was going for.
No, and that kind of sucks. Not bad,
Not bad.
but kind of sucks.
It kind of sucks, but I think the movie makes up for it by including a lot of other stuff that is cool.
Yes.
Like the whole ecology aspect of the film and it being an eco-horror film that does not take the actual animals and change them into monstrous versions of themselves and just allows the normal animals to kill people is so fucking cool.
Yeah, if you're wondering about that because you're like, okay, this isn't a giant frog movie. What is it? Well, like we said, it's an eco-horror film. But it's more so what I would describe as like a Nature Strikes Back style eco-horror film,
Yeah, for sure.
which is to say that humans are doing something bad,
Mm-hmm.
and the animals affected are very explicitly attacking those humans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's basically one or two lines. They're not really super overt about it. But basically, the family that takes in Pickett Smith for the day or whatever are a rich family that runs a paper mill. And they basically pollute this lake and stuff, it seems.
Yeah.
And so the animals that are attacking them are kind of the animals that live in and around this lake. So there's alligators, alligator snapping turtles,
Mm-hmm.
baby
Snakes.
alligators. No, I had to get through all the alligators first.
Yeah.
Frogs, kind of. Not really.
They're toads.
Tons of snakes.
Tons of snakes.
Spiders. That scared Bob.
Yeah.
Uh,
You said there was some tegu, right?
I think there was a tegu. And
Geckos.
geckos, a couple skanks. Basically, lizards, snakes, gators.
Yeah,
and-
stuff that lives in Florida.
Yeah, Florida stuff. And instead of like actually attacking people, except for the spiders do
The spiders do
attack
actually
people.
just kill a guy.
But it is very funny because they tie them up with like moss first. They're usually using like tools or the environment,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is very funny. Like that's how the lizards kill people.
The lizard. I think my favorite kill in the movie is the lizard kill, because it's ridiculous, but it's so because in a movie like this, you expect the animals to just be like, oh, I'm gonna bite this guy and kill him,
Which the snakes do, and
which the snakes do,
the
and that's what the spiders do.
do.
But the lizards outsmart someone and kill them that way, and it's hilarious.
And they shoot them like they're laughing, which makes it so much better.
It's so funny. Like, that's my big takeaway from this film, is it's such an interesting take on eco-horror that I didn't expect. Like, it feels almost like Animal Attack in...
Oh, it's definitely Animals Attack.
It feels like Animal Attack, but handled in a smart way. And that's fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say my biggest issue with the whole Animal Attack thing they did, because, like, you know, once you accept that, okay, this isn't a giant frog movie,
Which is sad.
nor is it super frog-centric from an Animal Attack perspective,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not bad. We get to see a bunch of cool different animals attack people, and that is interesting. It's basically like, don't go into the Florida Everglades if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest issue with it at that point is the simple fact that this is a PG movie, and you just don't get to see anything.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it's like most of the deaths feel kind of silly
Some of them are very silly.
because they don't even show like the animals biting people or anything.
Not really.
It's just like, okay, cut shot of animal, cut shot of person screaming, cut shot of animal, cut shot of person dead. And my favorite effect is they'll go to the person dead, and all of a sudden they'll look like a zombie from Day of the Dead. Like they'll have the white skin
yeah.
where it's that bluish color. I don't know. I just would have liked to see at least a PG-13
Yeah.
level of not even gore, but like just
Violence. Yeah.
to really sell it for me. Because the fact that some of these very small lizards and stuff are killing people is already ludicrous enough. And to sell that, I actually need to see the effects of it.
Sure.
And I just wasn't seeing that. And I'd like to point out this is before PG-13 exists, so they could have definitely put that in there
Mm-hmm.
and still gotten a PG rating.
I mean, there is, I would say, a scene with some decent gore. There's the scene where the guy's he gets scared and is running away and shoots himself in the leg and falls to the ground. You can see a good chunk of his leg is missing and like there's some bone.
But that's not the animals doing that.
No, that's
And
him being stupid.
I want to see the animals do
I mean,
something.
that's totally
Again,
fair. I
to
guess I
sell
get
that
it.
whole thing.
Yeah, this movie's not scary, like at all.
No, and it's not ludicrous enough to be funny.
No, it's very, honestly, very grounded and kind of real in some ways, but also sort of ridiculous and loony in some of the ways that the animals kill people.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird film to describe because it's not like a hoot, you know, it's not
No.
fun, but it's not bad.
It's not bad. But it also doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, I don't think you can.
No, you really can't with this sort of concept.
There's also some just weird stuff because it is low budget. I mean, I
Mhm.
couldn't find anything about the budget, but you can definitely tell.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm fairly certain they only had maybe 2 or 3 of each animal type, and they just kept reusing them. Like, it's definitely the same 3 snakes over and over again.
yeah, and it's
I-
definitely the same two Tegu.
I never saw more than 2,
Yeah.
which is concerning because there was some dead ones early in the film.
Yeah. Unsure how they
so
got a
I
hold
hope
of
they
those.
didn't kill them. They could have
Yeah.
just bought a dead one from the pet store.
Sure.
But, like, I bring up the low budget thing because, you know, honestly, it was hard to tell that the film was low budget overall.
Mm-hmm.
There was just some weird production stuff that gave it away.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the animal thing right there, but the copy we have has a ton of, like, cigarette marks on it, and there's some weird splice stuff. I think I
Mhm.
saw a couple hairs on the film. But the big one for me that stood out is there's, like, no music in this film at
Yeah,
all.
I didn't notice until you mentioned it,
There's
honestly.
some diegetic stuff, but yeah, there's no soundtrack. That's a bit odd
It's
for
odd,
a
but
film
I don't
like that.
know if it hurts it, because I literally didn't notice till you said something.
No, I mean, you don't notice because, I don't know, stuff is always happening.
Yeah, and maybe it wasn't intentional, maybe it was a budget thing, but I actually kind of like it because it sort of leans into the whole natural aspect. Like, you get a lot of nature sounds and lots of
Yeah.
animals and like just general ambiance from the sounds of nature, which makes sense in a film like this.
And I think it also works because it's like, okay, most of these animals are quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and the only sound that the film really wants to emphasize is the frogs
The
croaking.
frogs croak so much in this movie.
And so I think the real reason you don't necessarily notice the lack of music is the fact that there's almost constantly croaking.
mm-hmm.
So the film doesn't feel completely silent.
Yeah.
That and also Blu-ray player, Bob's PS4 is constantly making a soft whooshing noise.
Soft? No, it
The
sounds
loud
like a
whooshing
fucking
noise
airplane's
That
taking off in
kind
my
of
bedroom.
sounds like, I don't know,
A jet engine, maybe.
a jet engine or
Yeah,
something.
it's very loud.
So that
so-
probably helped.
You'll probably hear that in the outtakes. While we're, talking about all this animal stuff, we can move on to, like, some of the acting. It's actually surprisingly okay. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we already talked about Sam Elliott.
Yeah,
He does a pretty good job.
he's good. He's like the
obviously.
main guy.
It's a little bit weird seeing how young he is
True.
and how mustacheless he is.
Mustacheless.
I mean, it's not allowed, He's not
No,
allowed
it's
to
true.
not have a mustache or be 60 years old.
That's how I imagine it every time I think
He
of
has
him.
to be both. But he does a great job. We also have Ray Milland.
Who is good in this movie?
But it's bizarre
It's weird.
because the last time we saw him, he is at the very least 20 years younger.
Yeah, because that movie is from the 50s.
No, it's from the 40s.
It's from the 40s. Holy shit.
1944.
I thought that movie was from the 50s.
So he's
Holy
probably,
shit.
what, 30 years younger?
Yeah, and he's like 30 or 40 in that movie.
Yeah. But he's like a more happy-go-lucky kind of positive character in that film, and he's
Yeah.
a curmudgeonly old man in
Oh,
this one.
he's such an old fuck
And
in this
it's
movie. It's great. I
completely
think
different.
he might be he's one of my favorite characters in this film. Just because he's like, not that the other acting or the characterization is awful, but he has the most personality, and he's like sort of this stuck in his ways old man who doesn't give a fuck. It is kind of fun.
He's just like, we're going to celebrate my birthday.
No matter what.
No matter what.
And it's fun. I like him.
Yeah, and then I think everyone else does a pretty good job.
Yeah. It's just that
Those are the two that stand out.
those are the two that stand out because they're like the main two. I would say he's one's the protagonist, one's the antagonist.
Yeah, Sam Elliott's character, we already talked about Pickett Smith, is kind of the face of don't destroy nature.
Yeah.
And the rich old dude who runs this family is like the face of
Destroy nature.
destroy nature.
And it's cool seeing them like, because they don't ever directly combat each other too much.
No, in fact, I think they kind of get along fairly well.
They do get
have
along fairly well.
respect for each other.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting because it makes the whole nature fighting back thing feel less personal, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it exists outside of the human characters.
Yes, and that's cool because it feels more like a force of nature than anything else, which is cool. It makes sense. We haven't really also covered one of the cooler scenes in the film. There's tons of cool animal stuff. We've already covered a lot of that. But they do wrestle an alligator at one point, and it's pretty fucking rad.
Now, we were watching a Blu-ray cover of this film, so you could see, some tape wrapped around the alligator's mouth.
Yes,
Which, you know what? I'm glad they were being safe.
same.
But it is definitely a real alligator.
They definitely wrestled a real alligator, and that's pretty fucking rad. I was so surprised by that.
So I can appreciate that.
Me too. I thought it was a good. It's a good bit of action in an otherwise slow film.
Because basically nothing else happens.
No, that's like one of the highest action moments is he wrestles an alligator.
Honestly, it kind of stands out as being fairly weird because it's like
Yeah.
just so out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other weird decisions? There's 2 kids in this movie.
Okay.
They
I
basically
didn't know if we were talking about this.
don't matter at all.
No, not at all.
I don't even know.
I know the girl's name.
I don't know the boy's name.
The girl's name is Tina.
I know the girl's name. Her name's Tina.
Yes.
And we only know that because it's played by, I think, a boy.
yes. I'm pretty sure because you looked it up. Dude's name is like Dale.
Yeah, I believe it's Dale or something. And it's just really weird
It's an interesting choice.
because they definitely, it feels like they couldn't get a female actress of the right age
Mm-hmm.
to play Tina. And so they just got a boy and they put him in skirts.
See, I feel like they were supposed to be twins, and they wanted to get 2 people that looked like each other, so they just got 2 dudes.
But I just don't know why they didn't get a boy and then just change the character's name. Because it would
Yeah.
have changed nothing in the
It
film.
would have changed absolutely nothing.
It was just an odd choice. And every time we saw that child, I was like, is that a boy or a girl? I can't tell.
I can't tell. It's inconsequential either way.
And it's inconsequential, but it was just such a odd thing.
There's just some weird stuff about this movie like that. Like, I like the spider scene, but the fact that the trees kind of just start attacking this guy and wrapping him up make no sense.
The spiders straight up wrap up this dude in moss, and
Yeah.
he dies.
Like, how are you doing that? It's cool. It leads to some really cool effects, and it looks sweet. But it's like, why is that happening?
They're magic spiders.
They're magic spiders.
Let's see what else. There's also a good undertone in this film about racism.
Ah, yes, that is a good point.
They never explicitly say it, actually, which is really interesting.
Yeah, they're never explicit about it, but it's
They
definitely
kind of-
there.
Poke around it.
Mm-hmm.
Except for one scene where one of the characters says, what 5 score in
Yeah.
3 years ago? It's very on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's interesting because
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. Because it's like, okay, basically what we're getting at is there is a mixed race couple,
which was surprising.
surprising in 1972, especially in film,
Yes.
and they make fun of the fact that they're together, and it pisses off the grandpa.
Who again is a rich, wealthy man from the South
Yeah, in 1972.
in a plantation home.
Yes. And it's handled very well, and it's
And
very
he-
interesting.
Very explicitly has two people for help,
Yeah.
a butler and a maid,
Mhm.
who are both black.
Yeah.
And to double home, I don't know if you picked up on it, the name of the woman dating one of the sons
Mm-hmm.
and the maid are the same.
They're the same name. And there are absolutely, and this is just me putting out there, Confederate soldier paintings hanging in the house. So it's like, okay, I see what the movie's doing here, and it works. I get it. It's an interesting undertone, like underlying storyline to throw into a film about frogs.
Yeah, to just this random eco horror.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And it, besides for like that one part when it got super like on the nose, and I would say too on the nose,
Fair.
it was handled surprisingly well.
No, it was handled
I
really
thought
well.
It was really cool. Sucks that those characters die off screen,
Oh, yeah. No, that does suck.
especially after they leave the movie. So it was
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, great insult to injury there.
Yeah.
They stood up for themselves and they left, and then you're
They-
like, oh,
And there they go.
and they're dead. That being said, I don't think I really have much else.
I mean, there isn't much else.
Except 4th of July movie.
Oh, yeah. We should have explained that
I
part.
should mention that because it's really, really subtle.
Well, there's only one scene in which the 4th of July is important.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever explicitly say it's the 4th of July.
They do.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
I know they say.
Well, because they're like, yeah, it's his birthday, the 4th of July. And we always celebrate for a week as a family because we have a bunch of birthdays right around this time.
Oh, I missed that scene.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah,
just,
Stuart's talking about it.
I just heard the old man go, "It's July and there's 4 birthdays," and I was like, "Hey." But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the 4th of July. It's the old man's birthday, and they celebrate. I think his birthday and a couple of the other ones.
Yeah, I think it's like Stuart, Michael's, and
Karen.
Karen's birthday are all like within a week of each other on around the 4th of July. So they all spend a week at the house.
Yeah, and basically, the lead up into the film is the day before the 4th of July,
Yeah.
July 3rd. But for the most part, the entire film's on the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. And the only really hint that we get at 4th of July is there's decorations and stuff hanging up.
That's what I was
And
going to say.
The
There's
kids play with fireworks.
firecrackers, and then there's very explicitly a cake
Yeah.
that's shaped like an American flag.
That the frogs jump on top of, and it's pretty sweet.
Cane toad, you mean?
Well, in the movie, they're frogs.
No! In the movie, I think, doesn't the first line we hear about the frogs, doesn't, what's his name? Is it Scott?
Who?
The guy who's married to the woman, like Linda or whatever.
I think his name is Scott. Right?
No, Clint, right?
Clint. His name is Clint. You're right.
Clint's married to Jenny, and they have the kids. Doesn't Clint start talking to Pickett, and he's like, I saw this giant cane toad the other day.
No, he called it a frog.
Did he?
He called. Yeah, his giant frog.
Okay. I'm just
He
inserting
explicitly
cane
said
toad.
giant frog, which is so funny because then there are no giant frogs. Because I expected it to be a giant frog movie still. It's like really early on in the film.
Well,
Because he goes, it's like this big and it's gigantic,
Yeah.
and it kind of teases you with that and then doesn't do it.
I mean, the cane toads would be big if they were bullfrogs,
True.
but they're not bullfrogs.
Bullfrogs are huge.
Did you know Jeremiah was a bullfrog?
That is not going in the episode.
Bob's never heard that song.
Well, no, I'm referencing the fact that you started singing it during the film.
No, that's not going in the episode.
That's what I'm saying. So stop bringing it up.
Fair enough. All right. recommendations?
Sure. If you like 70s horror movies, I like the 70s, man. Maybe a unpopular opinion. I might like 70s horror films better than 80s horror films. I have a blast when we watch movies from the 70s, man. They're always good. They're always fun. I just like the way blood looks in the 70s because it's like this fluorescent red.
So saturated.
But it's cool.
I think I was discussing this with Bob during the movie because he made this exact same comment. I was like, I think it probably has to do with how film stock was
Probably.
and just making the blood pop on screen.
It looks great. I like it. So if you're a fan of 70s horror, I think it's fun. If you want a PG horror movie, it's a PG horror movie. There's no nudity. There's light blood and gore. It's not too bad. That's your thing. If you want an eco horror film, I think this is cool. We haven't really watched a ton of eco horror on the show. I think The Bay is probably the only other one I can think of off the
That's
top
the
of my
best
head.
example.
That's the best example. I'm sure there are other ones I'm just not thinking of. But it's a cool eco horror film because it's not just like animal kills people. It does some cool creative stuff and has some cool undertones that are fun.
Okay. First recommendation, I think it's always a really good go-to. If you like any of the actors in this,
Oh, that's fair.
a couple of them are famous or just in famous films. If you're looking for an eco horror film, I don't necessarily think this is the best eco horror film ever, but it's decent. And I mean, it's fun. It's not all the time that you see a film like Frogs,
Mm-hmm.
where it focuses on like an animal attack kind of thing, which is my other recommendation for it. Because this isn't like a standard animal attack where you just have a dog or something. No, it's a bunch of very small reptiles for
Yeah.
the most part. And I think that's really cool. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Rate it.
I'm at impasse. Because look, all the scores in this movie are really low. And I get it. Because, like, I'd be disappointed coming in too for a movie called Frogs. And the cover art is a giant frog with a hand in its mouth. There are no giant frogs. They do not eat people. But I don't hate it. Like, I like the movie overall. I like the message they were going for. And I think they, while very on the nose, hit it pretty well.
Yeah.
It works.
I mean, I think the big reason this gets poor ratings is there's no giant frogs.
Nope.
In fact, the frogs do basically nothing.
Yep.
And you don't get to see any gore or anything.
Yeah.
Which is expected in a horror movie.
And yeah, I think that's really the big, like, sucky point. But overall, I think the film is fun. Like, it's interesting. I think they do some cool stuff with the family dynamics. I like Ray Milland as, like, this curmudgeonly old man who just wants to celebrate his birthday. Like, I think it's fun, man. There's nothing in my mind that explicitly sticks out as being atrocious with the limitations that they set themselves with making it PG. Like, if this was rated R and I watch it, I go, okay, well, this sucks because I didn't see anything.
I'd be confused.
Yeah, but it's PG. So they are restricted, you know what I mean?
I mean, they made that choice.
They made that choice, but it's like,
And it feels like they just couldn't afford practical effects, so.
that's also fair. And I think all the animal stuff is fairly interesting and cool. And they wrestled a fucking alligator, and that's worth some points in my book. This movie, I'll give it a 3. I like it a lot. I like it, but I get why people are disappointed. And that's why I would give it a 3.5. But it's called Frogs. And the frogs don't do anything. And that's disappointing.
Yeah. I'm in a weird boat with this one. Because, look, I knew what it was going in. Because
Sure.
I'd heard about the film and stuff like that. So I knew this wasn't like a giant frog film. But that's what I want when I hear the name Frogs. Is a
Yeah.
giant frog film. The cover art makes me think it's going to be a giant frog film. Or at the very least, I want the frogs to do something. And, you know, I can totally understand why not getting to see that is very disappointing and could make me want to take points away. But while that's what I feel like the film leaned into for its advertising, I don't think that's what the film was intended to be.
Not at all.
I think the film turned out as it was intended, generally speaking, minus a couple things from, like, assumedly a low budget. And while I can't say this is, like, my favorite film ever, there's nothing I can point at and go, okay, I hated that,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't enjoy it.
No, agreed.
It's honestly a fairly mediocre film. Not in the sense of, like, oh, it's mediocre, it's bad, but, like, I didn't feel like there was any high points, but also no low points.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for that reason, I think I'm just going to go with a 3. Like, right in the middle, at
Yeah,
least for us.
My thing is, if you're looking for a film like this, like, if you're looking for something in the vein of this film, it works. But But if you're not looking for it, it's not going to hit. You know what I mean? Like it's very much a film that's like if you
want it, you'll like it.
exactly.
If you don't,
It feels very
Well.
niche in audience as well, and that kind of sucks because it's like, who would I show this to?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who? I'm glad we watched it because it was cool.
I own this on Blu-ray, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm gonna watch this with ever again.
Yeah, but it's like, unless I'm going out of my way to watch it and find it, I don't know why I would watch this movie. So it's very strange. It's just a weird one to rate, you know?
Yeah, but I guess on that note, we'll go to the outtakes if we have any.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Frog so far. I think this movie's fun and very interesting. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is our reaction to the lizards killing a man in the most ridiculous way possible.
Well, lizards can't fuck up a dude, Bob.
They can and they will.
They can't. However, what lizards can do is
Is-
poison a dude.
I was about to say, lizards can just drop a... Oh my god. Did they just, like, make mustard gas?
Somehow.
Somehow they've won.
Those pea jars are filled with poison. He just walked right into it.
What a stupid way to die, but I actually love it. Because it's, like, it's so much more creative than I was expecting. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Do we have any announcements, Benjamin?
Episode out tomorrow.
Yeah, we got an episode out tomorrow because this comes out on a Thursday.
Yeah. So happy 4th of July, guys.
Yeah, happy 4th of
Hope you
July.
enjoyed this special episode.
Hopefully, yeah. I love 2 years in a row. We have not done an actual, like, 4th of July film. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that's 4th of July centric.
Jaws was 4th of July centric.
I mean, kind
It's
of.
a big thing in Jaws is they have to open up the beaches.
For 4th of July.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's 4th of July and it's summer.
I know. But when I think of 4th of July horror film, I think of stuff that, like, has fireworks killing people or something.
Hey, they may have blown up a frog in
They
this movie.
did blow up a frog. in
It's
this film.
implied. You don't get to see it.
Yeah.
In fact, you just see some firecrackers go off and then a frog does a flip.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool.
You know, in either case, usual spiel. Check us out wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're checking us out there or any other podcast-specific app or website, please give us a quick review or a rating. That really helps us out with getting recommended to other people on those sites. You can also check us out on YouTube, which will not great for audio-only content. Helps us out. It really lets us know how you guys are liking the podcast because it's really easy to see subscriptions, likes, views, stuff like that. If you're checking us out on YouTube, you can also use a couple tools there that might help you out. There's a search button, which lets you search key terms in all our videos. So if you're looking for a movie title we might have covered, that's a cool way to figure it out because we've done a lot at this point.
Yeah.
Nearly probably like 160 or something like that.
We're around there at this point, I think.
And it increases every week.
Sometimes by more than one.
Wow. YouTube also has a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we post something new. So if we're posting something out of schedule, like this episode, that's an easy way to find out. If you don't keep up with Twitter, which is one of the two major places to communicate with us at. Twitter's run by Bob over at Beware the Board. You can go hop over there, or you can stay in the pond over here at YouTube. Do it in a comment section of a specific episode.
Yeah. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter, at Beware the Board. It's where I post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's worth of episodes, which is a hidden movie cover you can reveal, so you can watch the film before we do. So when we release the episodes, you don't get any spoilers, or being vague about stuff, you know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whatever other day an episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode there. So if you ever missed an upload or want to know when something went up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, we have short form content for the show. We don't make it anymore. I
Bob
mean,
doesn't
I
make
could
it.
make it. Look, we're busy. This is an extra episode. This is extra content already, okay? I don't have time right now. Maybe one day.
He's definitely had time in the past. He just hasn't done it.
They're hard to make, okay? But if you like short form content and enjoy the show, check us out at Beware the Board on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts. Benjamin, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next time.